Are you someone who is into podcasts? Perhaps you want to have a really cool library where you can find some great podcasts to listen to on your commute to work. Or maybe you're looking to create one yourself. Well, let me tell you about Anchor. It's the easiest way to make a podcast, all right? It's free. It has creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your PC. Anchor will also distribute your podcast for you. Complete ease, hassle-free, so that way you can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, as well as many more outlets. You can also make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. Okay, folks? Everything you need to make a podcast in one place. It's fantastic, all right? And if you want to get started right now, all you got to do is download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Alright, my friends, welcome back to another exciting episode of Just a Glimpse. I do want to apologize for my leave of absence. I haven't posted, normally I would post an episode every week, and I think I've gone at least 2 weeks without posting one. I just was racking my brain trying to figure out what I want to talk to you about next, and so I'm going to do Rwby. We're going to talk about the American-made anime web series called Rwby that you can find on Rooster Teeth. Now, it first was started back in 2013. They just started Volume 8 of the show right now. They just got the first episode out, I believe, for Volume 8. Now, so the show started back in 2013, and it was created by a man named Monty Oum. And he did the first 3 volumes. Alright, he made the first 3 volumes, and then he had, unfortunately, passed away. I think he lost his fight with cancer, and then his team ended up taking over for him, and they've done a fantastic job, understanding what Monty's vision was for the show, and I think they did a pretty darn good job, keeping the show going and doing a great job with storytelling, to keep the show in his spirit of what he would have done and to keep it, entertaining and enjoyable. So I do thank the team so much for doing that. All right, but you're probably like, what in the world is Rwby? Now, Rwby, it's spelled R-W-B-Y, but it is pronounced Rwby because it's based on Team Rwby, and each letter of the team represents the first name of a member of the team. So R is for Ruby Rose. Okay, so Rwby. And it also has to represent the color of them too. It's just a bonus. The other teams within the show don't do this. It's just based on their first names. But for Team Rubies, they made it extra special by also doing it with the colors. Okay, so R is for Rwby, who is red. And then we have W for Weiss, who is white. And then B is Blake, who's black. And then Y is Yang, who is yellow, okay? And that makes up Team Rwby. And basically, the whole show takes place in the world called Remnant. And within Remnant, there are 4 different kingdoms, okay? And these kingdoms are, when the show is starting, the big issue that they're dealing with are these creatures of Grimm. Now, the best way I can think of them is to think of animals like bears, wolves, elephants. Just think of these animals being corrupted by fear and hatred and basically turning evil, okay? And wherever there's fear, they can sense that fear, and that's where they will go. They hunt. They hunt for that. So the story begins where you have your characters first meet up, and in the world, you either go to school to become a regular person like we are in our real world. You go and you become a teacher, or you work in retail, or become a banker or shop owner or whatever. Regular jobs. You can do that, or you can go to a prestigious academy to become a huntsman or huntress. And these are basically the special trained warriors within the kingdoms that you can hire to either fight off the Grimm, to help escort, let's say you need to escort something from one village to another, and there's a lot of Grimm out, and you're worried about it making there. You can hire a huntsman or a huntress to take care of that. So so that's what that's about. And the show takes place in the Kingdom of Vale at the Beacon Academy. Okay, and that's where the characters will meet. Rwby is young and she wants to get into the school because her half sister Yang is already going there. So she's like, I want to be a huntress so bad because her mom was, and so she just really wants to, do this, even though she's not really of the right age. She's got enough talent to where they kind of like let her, they let her come in anyway, and they put her on a team with her sister and then Weiss and Blake. And I don't want to go too deep into what their characters are because I want you to experience for yourselves, for those of you who haven't seen the show yet. But it's got some great storytelling, wonderful character development. Each character has their own unique personality, so you're not going to, so it just keeps the show fresh. It's very, very well done. And I don't want to go into their, too much into their backstories or anything like that. And they all have their own baggage, as any person would, that they need to deal with. So definitely make sure you guys check it out. Now, one of the things that might be off-putting for a lot of people is if you're looking at Volume 1, when they first started, they didn't really have a budget at the time. All right, they didn't have a big budget, so they had to cut back when it comes to the animation stuff. So any of the important characters in the storyline would be fully detailed and colored in. And then any background characters, let's say you're walking down the street in a city, you'll see like people in the background walking down the street or, window shopping or whatever. They'll just be like a silhouette of a person that isn't colored in, so just like shadows. And that's basically just because of budget. That wasn't like the art style they wanted to do. That was because of budgeting. And so please, please, please don't look at that art style and think, this show is going to be terrible. It's not for me. That I don't like the way it looks, because it's just for like the first volume is going to be really rough. And then as you keep going further into the show, each volume, that they ended up getting a better budget because the show ended up expanding and getting a bigger fan base, got that popularity, and so they got better funding. And so as you progress in, the art just gets more beautiful, more vibrant, better details. So please do not ward off this show because of how it first looks. Okay, appearances are deceiving. All right, the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Yes, it doesn't look that appealing to the eye for a lot of people in the beginning, but that's because of budget issues. The show is so beautiful and gorgeous now. Please, please, please give it a try. The story is fantastic. The characters are so good. So please. Another thing that I really love about the show is the choreography for the fighting scenes is beautiful. So beautiful. So you definitely want to check all that stuff out. Like, the fight scenes are great. And each character has their own unique weapon, as well as their own unique fighting style, and it's just great seeing how they are able to team up and work together with their different strengths and weaknesses and pull off some great stuff. So just give it a try. Just give it a try. It's so good. Okay, it's so good. And the show has picked up in so much popularity that not only it started out as a web series, but now it has a manga. It has a board game. It's got a lot of different merch. It has a video game. It's just grown so much. Okay, it's become, its own little mini phenomenon in itself. Okay, because, it's not going to be as large as big name animes out there, like Pokemon or Dragon Ball or, anything like that. But, it's got its fan base, and it's fantastic. So definitely check it out. So as you progress, the arcs gets better, and you're going to go through different story arcs. And I don't really want to talk about too much on like all that stuff because I don't want to, ruin it. I want you guys to experience it because I know there's going to be plenty of people listening to this that have never seen it. So please check it out. And I would love to hear what you think of the show. Heck, if you wanted to even, do a watch party, I will throw a watch party in my Discord and we can get together and we can binge watch this show. I love it so much. I would have no problems, doing that. All right, we probably wouldn't be able to see it all in one day. We would have to break it up into different segments because it would be too long. But we could definitely do that. And there's plenty of ways you guys can get a hold of this show. You can either go directly to the website for Rooster Teeth and watch it directly in the browser. They have a mobile app. They just added their app for support on smart TVs and on like Fire Stick TV and things like that, so you can watch it right there on your TV. Netflix has a bunch of their stuff on there as well. And the nice thing about Netflix is they compiled it together. So instead of having a break after every episode, because it's a web series, your episodes are like 10, maybe 15 minutes long. So that's a lot of breaks between each episode, right? So Netflix, what they did is they just took the entirety of, let's say Volume 1, and they just slapped it all together so it plays like a movie, which is great. And I think they did it for Volume 2 and maybe 3. I don't know how many volumes Netflix has, because I no longer have Netflix, but I know it's a good place to get started. Amazon Prime Video also has Rwby, so if you want to watch that way, that is another option. Plenty of ways you can get a hold of it. The show is free, so if you don't have Netflix or Amazon Prime, if you want to watch it free, just go to the website and watch on the browser or download one of their apps, and you can watch it that way for free. So do it. It is great. You guys, please do it. And tell me what you think of the show, your favorite characters. I'll tell you right now, when it comes to Team Rwby, my favorite characters are Blake and Yang. I even shipped those two together. I have since day one. I've shipped those two together. And so it's just, I just love those two characters. And then there's another team. Forgive me, it's escaping me at the moment. I can't remember what their team is called. I think their name may have changed because there's been a change in members on the team. And since their team name is based on the first letter of each member's name, and they just, arrange it to where it makes like a word. In the beginning, it was Farah, John, Ren, and Nora. I can't remember which way they arranged that to make a word, so forgive me. Farah was freaking fantastic. I loved her as a character. And Nora is one of my favorite characters as well for that team. She's freaking hilarious. She's very high-spirited, high energy, very optimistic and energetic. She's just a lot of fun. And she runs around with this big-ass hammer. So it's great. Usually when you see a character with a big hammer, it's usually like a really, really big, tough, person, either a dude or a really muscular chick. And, Nora's like this little, nimble little girl, woman with this big hammer, and she's just so upbeat, and I love her to death. She's fantastic. And then for villains, though, there's a villain called Neapolitan. She doesn't talk. All right, she's a mute, and she's just really, really cool the way she fights. She fights with an umbrella, and I just think that's amazing. You see everybody running around with swords and guns and things, and she's like, I got you guys, and she'll whoop that butt, with an umbrella, and I'm just like, dang, it's just insane when you see what some of the stuff these guys pull off. But check out the show. It's so good. Tell me what you think of it. Things you like, don't like, characters you like, whatever. Or if you guys want to do a watch party, let me know. We can do a watch party. Like, I'm all in. All right, I'm all in. It's so good. Check it out. And but yeah, that's pretty much it. I'll give it my seal of approval, high recommendation. And again, I do want to apologize that I haven't had an episode in a while. I just really didn't know what to talk about. And since I just got caught up and finished Volume 7 of Rwby, I'm like, you know what? Why don't I just briefly talk about Rwby and, try to get people into it and see if they'll check it out, because it is such a great show. So please do so. And yeah, it's just, I really don't know what else I can talk about outside of having people, you know, ask me questions so I can go deeper into it. And but otherwise, yeah, just check it out, tell me what you think. And heck, if we get enough people who want to get together, I can even do a special recording where we get together in like a group chat and we just discuss Rwby if you guys want. And that would be really, really fun. We could totally do that. You know, just talk about Rwby, things that we like about it, don't like about it, things, you know, theories that we think are going to happen. Oh, another thing that I didn't bring up is when you watch Rwby, you'll notice that these characters are all based on, you know, different like fairy tale characters or things from like Greek mythology and things like that. So like Rwby is based on Red Riding Hood, for example. Or you got the character Farah in the beginning of the show. She's based off of, if I remember, it was Greek mythology now I can't remember. I can't remember. She was based off of one of the, for some reason I keep thinking of Achilles, but I don't think it was him. She's based off one of like the famous warriors from Greek mythology, and she can like shapeshift or whatever. Well, she doesn't shapeshift, but like that character could shapeshift. I don't remember. It doesn't matter. You guys can watch the show and you guys can, you know, put together who is who and things like that. But check it out. It's really, really good stuff. Alright, but that's pretty much all I got, because now I'm just going to start, you know, ranting in a circle and repeating myself, so I don't want to do that too much more than I already have. Do it. Check it out. Thank you guys for listening. Please, please, please tell your friends and family about what I'm doing here so they can give it a listen. You know, word of mouth is powerful. Thank you to those of you that are still here, coming back and listening. I do appreciate it. And I hope to, you know, talk to you guys again real soon about another interesting topic. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more to say about it. It's just, since this show is something a lot of people haven't seen, there's not much I can say about it without saying too much. Alright, so enjoy it, and thanks again, and until next time, you guys, take care, and this is another exciting episode of Just a Glimpse.